What's up, guys? Hopefully you're feeling blessed and not stressed. I wanted to join you guys today. Believe it or not, I'm not doing a pink package shout out, at least right now. But I wanted to follow up with you guys on a previous pink package shout out that I had done. And let me kind of explain why. On a previous pink package shout out, and really on a lot of the pink package shout outs and videos, my wife and I have been talking about, our experiences in getting Chase ready for college. Our son Chase, as you guys probably know, Chase is in 12th grade. He's literally graduating in a couple of weeks. So all of our activity around this house has really been about getting him prepared for graduation, all the stuff that comes with it, buying all the stuff for him to go to college, just everything that comes along with it. And in talking about that, one of the things I wanted to definitely make clear with all of you when we talk about college is that college is not for everybody. So in the previous pink package shout out, if you hadn't seen it, I talked about the fact that college isn't for everybody. Even though my wife and I, both met at Florida A&M, the best HBCU in the country, by far. Even though my wife and I both went to HBCUs, went to historically black colleges. We met at a black college. We both went to grad school. We both have a lot of undergraduate and graduate education between the two of us. But that doesn't mean that we think that college is for everyone. As a matter of fact, I think you should really sit back and think about not only is college for you, but what the form of college that you want to experience is. And let me kind of explain that. And one of the ways I explained it in the previous pink package shout out was giving this analogy about sports, particularly the NFL and the NBA. And I talked about, if you know anything about the National Football League or the National Basketball Association, the NBA, in the NBA, for example, over the years, you've had a lot of players, your Kobe Bryants, your LeBron James, your Kevin Garnett, your Moses Malones that came straight out of high school, right? These guys finished high school and they were ready to go right into the professional sports world. And that is kind of the analogy of like a Bill Gates or an Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, right? These guys that right out of high school didn't really need a lot of, college education to do what they needed to be done. They were so talented and so smart that they could kind of skip going to college to play ball and go right to the NBA. But they are the exception rather than the rule. And they also, the NBA is a little bit different, right? The NBA and the physical and mental requirements are not as strenuous as what you might experience in the NFL, for example. In the NFL, the National Football League, you really have never historically seen players come up right out of high school and play in the NFL. The NFL is just, the plays are too complex, the guys are too big. You really have to go to college to be mentally prepared, to be physically prepared to go to the NFL. So you can't really think of a player in modern history that has gone from high school to the NFL. You might have guys that get on the practice squad and make it, that don't go to college. Even that is few and far between. So I compare, just like I compared, NBA players like LeBron and Kobe and Moses and Kevin Garnett to, all of these rich people that you hear about that didn't go to college and were very brilliant. I would say the NFL is more like these professional occupations, doctors, lawyers, engineers. I'm an engineering major, or I was an engineering major, teachers, nurses. There are some roles that are very, very technical. And whether we want to admit to it or not, you need a high degree of formal education to complete those roles. I know there's a lot of alternative medicine, but if I'm sick, I want to go to a doctor, especially certain types of illnesses, that is going to medical school. I'm an engineer. If I'm flying on an airplane, I want to know that airplane was designed by people that went to engineering school. I want to send my kids to a school with teachers that have a degree in education, nurses that have practiced nursing and have gone to school for nursing, right? So there are certain occupations that I would compare to the NFL. You have to have had some degree of formal education to do those things. So I think what you have to look at and what you have to tell your children to look at, and you really have to be on them about, and it's a little bit of a stereotypical question that we all kind of grow up with, but I don't think we ask it of ourselves. I don't think we ask it of our children enough. What do you want to be when you grow up? And as we get closer and closer and closer to that college age, that dream has got to be more realistic, right? Obviously, when we're young kids and young babies, everybody wants to be a fireman and a policeman and a model and a dancer. But, when that kid hits middle school, all right, what do you really want to be? And when they hit high school, all right, what are you good at? What do you really have a passion for? And what do you really want to be? So first off, before we get too deep into this, I first want to give a shout out to all of you that made comments on the previous video where I talked about this. whenever I come back and do a topic like this, it's always good to get input from you guys. So let me give a shout out to some of you guys that gave us great input on this that I'm going to use. Amateur Decorating Like a Pro, thank you so much for your feedback. Gloria Jones, Marsha Anderson, Cynthia F always comes through with the great feedback. TT Party of 6, thank you so much. Matriarchs Matter, Sheila Askew is also one of the people that always gives us very, very thoughtful, things to talk about. So a couple of things that all of these folks commented about that I wanted to also comment about. I think we have to be very careful, or not careful, but I think if your child wants to be a doctor or a lawyer or a profession that requires a postgraduate degree, you really have to kind of sit them down and say, look, a pre-med degree and a pre-law degree don't do you much good if you don't go to law school and med school, right? I'm not saying you can't be successful getting those degrees, but never going to law school or med school. But you have to ask yourself the question, if you're going to be pre-med and you never go to medical school, what happens to you then? And I would encourage you, if your child does do that, does major in one of those topics, to, if you're halfway through your pre-med program and you're not enjoying it, you're 2 years in, talk to your child, counsel them and say, hey, I can't afford to have you graduate. You don't want to have spent thousands and thousands of dollars and not go to med school. So maybe we can switch to something else. Maybe we can do, physical therapy or nursing or something along those lines. Really talk to your children about, hey, you got to be in this for the long haul. I've had that conversation with Chase, my son Chase, as you guys may or may not know. Chase is very interested in law. I've drilled that into his head. Now, I can't guarantee it, but I said, hey, you're in school for a good 6-7 years. Enjoy it, enjoy the ride. And by the way, I will say this too. I think a common myth is everybody completes college in 4 years. College is a 4-year thing, undergrad. I actually did 5. It took me 5 years and I had great grades. I had all A's and B's. I enjoyed Florida A&M. I enjoyed the college environment and I didn't want to burn myself out. I've graduated, I took engineering. Engineering is very challenging. It's one of the more challenging undergraduate degrees. So I was like, look, I want to get A's and B's. I don't want to overload myself. And I had fun. So also, tell your child, hey, if you want to enjoy the college experience, don't feel like you have to rush through in 3 or 4 years, right? Kind of extend that if you're able to, if you're financially able to. Now, I will say this, and this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about this in this video, right, is it is expensive. I was lucky. I got a scholarship, an academic scholarship undergrad, so I didn't really incur any cost. But I get when I say, hey, spend 5 years in college, that's not always feasible for everybody. So that's why I say really think about if college is worth the investment, because it is an investment, right? You have to think about your ROI, your return on investment. You don't want to go to college for 5 years and come out with $200,000 in debt and you've majored in something that doesn't have a direct career path. So definitely think about that. And by the way, I do believe that, and we like to get political sometimes on this channel, college costs are out of control. College is way overpriced. I think all community college should be free. There's no reason with the money that our government spends in other areas, right? Defense, tax breaks for corporations, that we can't make community college free for everybody. So make sure you go vote for people that support that. So before you go out and spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, make sure that ROI is there. Make sure your child or you have studied that career path that they're going to study in college and understand what the routes are to success. So when we talk about college and college expenses, one of the other things I want to talk about too is I don't get caught up, and I don't think anyone should, too much in the name of the college, like the brand. Like I know there are Ivy League schools, every state, every area has a school that is like, it's that school. And I think you can overspend on a college just for name recognition, right? Most of the times, the most inexpensive schools are local colleges in our city. The state colleges, you always get that in-state tuition break. So don't feel like you have to go to a college, and tell your child, look, I know you grew up and you had your heart set on going to this school, but that's okay. You can still be successful going to your local state college or local community college. Again, I went to Florida A&M because I got a scholarship, but I've literally worked side by side with people that went to, Ivy League schools, Stanford, Cornell. And, I'm just being honestly with you, they were smart people, but I never felt like I was at a disadvantage because they went to an Ivy League school. So don't get caught up in the name. You want to go somewhere that you're not going to incur a lot of debt when you graduate, because a lot of times those student loans can sound good. Oh, I'm going to come out, I'm going to make all this money. But when reality hits and you have to pay those student loans back, it can be a totally different situation. So what would be my advice if your child comes to you, right, and says, I don't want to go to college. Mom, Dad, I don't want to go to college. Or, quite frankly, you just understand that, look, my child is not college material, right? They didn't excel in the traditional academic ways that were presented to them in high school and that would be presented to them in college. First of all, I think there's something like 7 or 8 different types of intelligence. So I will be the first to sit here and say, again, you can be very successful and not be traditionally book smart, right? What is taught to us in college and high school and the way it is taught is a very, very narrow focus on a very specific type of intelligence. That is important, but it is by no means the length and breadth of all of our intelligence, all of our talents, right? So you can be, very bad in high school, very bad in college, as far as your grades, but you can be a brilliant, brilliant person in other areas, those other different types of intelligence. So I think you have to really sit down, and not only do you have to have, these conversations with your child and evaluate them over time. It's not a one-time thing, it's over time. But you have to build up their self-esteem and help them and guide them into the areas where they are talented, right? If your child is a great dancer, I think there's an area of intelligence around kinesthetics and how you move your body, right? Go open up a dance academy, right? You don't have to go to college to do that. If your child is very good with their hands, right? Become a carpenter, right? Pick up a trade. So I think even sitting down with your child and saying, look, I understand you're struggling in school. I understand you've struggled in high school and you're struggling in college, but that's not it for you. And don't feel bad because you didn't understand algebra 2, right? Or calculus, right? You're never going to use calculus in real life. I'm an engineer and I don't use calculus in real life. But let's look at these 7 or 8 other different types of intelligence. What are you good at, right? Maybe you're very talented. Maybe you have great interpersonal skills. Maybe people are drawn to you. Maybe you're very athletic. And let's see maybe you're just a hustler, right? Entrepreneurs are mostly hustlers. And let's see where we can apply that intelligence. But I think the key here is you have to apply it, right? And I think what college does that is dangerous if you don't go to college is college kind of forces you to apply yourself. And the danger if you graduate high school and don't go to college is kind of just that tendency to just kind of sit and fester and not apply yourself and not hustle. So the real benefit of college right out of high school, it gives you kind of that hustle. I got to take care of myself. I got to do it on my own mentality. And if you don't do that, it can be a little bit of a trap. As a matter of fact, one of the other people that commented was Tess Mackey. And she put a great quote. She said, believe in yourself, invest in yourself, hire yourself, promote yourself, trust God, which I think is a great quote. So what do you talk to your children about? Can you go to trade school, HVAC, plumbing, carpentry, electrical? I think electrical is going to be huge because our homes now are becoming more and more wired. Our homes are basically now just networks, right? Our homes have Internet of Things, everything is connected. So all this electrical work that has to happen, all of this setup that has to now happen in our homes, I think the electrical, being an electrician is going to be a huge market. The beauty industry has always been a huge market. So trade schools, community colleges, right? I think the main thing that gets lost in all of this conversation, and this goes back to what Tess Mackey posted, it's the hustle, it's the drive. A lot of times when we talk about specifically in the African-American community, what's lacking, you kind of have this debate of, well, we should have more people going to college. And then some people say, well, we should have more entrepreneurs. Here's how I kind of look at it. I think we just need more hustle in general, right? I think you have to find a lane, pick a lane, and just drive to it. You have to drive to, go back to my NBA analogy, you have to drive strong to the basket. You have to go strong. And I think there are too many of us, and I really look at, my young black males that just are kind of just there, right? Again, you see a lot of the young black women that are going to college, that are starting businesses, that are opening up salons, that are becoming social media influencers. And I don't see as much of that from the young black males. And so what I would say is, have that hustle mentality, whether you go to college, trade school, open your own business. It's about, that great quote that I took off Tess Mackey, who commented. There's also a great quote from Martin Luther King that I'll read. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper that did his job well, right? So look, you can be a street sweeper and be a millionaire. Start a street sweeping business and get a contract with the city of Atlanta, right? Start your street sweeping business, right? It's not, again, about going to college. It's about that hustle, that drive, that ability to want to feed your family, to want to take care of yourself, to want to lead a good life, and having a plan, right, to move that vision forward, right? That plan can include college. It can be taking online classes. So I know I've said a lot. I'd love to get even more of your feedback down in the comments. Let me leave you with about 4 or 5 things just to kind of walk away with as I close out here. The first thing I would say to kind of summarize, number 1, don't go to college out of a sense of obligation. It's funny, in that college admission scandal with Aunt Becky, I don't remember her real name, but Aunt Becky, that whole college admission scandal, you know, kind of reading up on it and, you know, kind of being in the YouTube world myself, she was trying to get her daughter into college, but her daughter was already a social media influencer. And, you know, I saw some, you know, I went back and looked at some of her stuff, not a lot of it. And I'm like, why did she need to go to college? She was already, I think, very successful. I think she had done a lot in the makeup industry. She was already an influencer. That is a perfect example. And it was more her parents, I think, than her, of them just, I wanted the name recognition of my child. I think it was UCLA or USC. It was out of obligation. Classic example. That girl did not need to go to college. She'd have been better off without it and just doing the social media influencer thing. So don't go to college out of obligation. Don't send your children to college out of obligation. The second point, don't overspend. Name recognition is great. You know, the Ivy Leagues are great, but there are a lot of great local bargains to be had. You know, your local, you know, in-state tuition costs are always going to be a lot cheaper. Definitely look for those of us that are parents, especially with newborns, start that 529 college savings plan. And Georgia's called the 529, but I think all states have them where you can put a little bit away every month, but don't overspend on college. Third thing, no matter what you're doing, college or not, what do you want to do when you grow up? What is your career path, right? If you're a nurse, do you want to be a nurse practitioner? If you're good with your hands, do you want to be a carpenter? If you're good at programming, do you want to take some online classes and maybe build your own app and not go to college and just try to sell your own app on your own? Or do you want to go get a computer science degree? Really have a real, and I think as parents, this is a conversation we have to have with children throughout their lives. These aren't one-time conversations. What do you want to be when you grow up? The fourth thing I would say, and this is especially for young Black males, college, what are your real alternatives? If you don't go to college, and this is kind of linked to the one I just said, what are your real alternatives? It can't be make-believe. What happens, right? Do you fall in with a bad crowd? Are you in a neighborhood where if you don't go to college, you know, are you around people in a neighborhood where you can get sucked into some bad things? Again, I know in my case, it did me a lot of good to get out of my neighborhood, you know, around some of the guys I grew up with and kind of go and see different areas, see Black people that were successful, see Black people that were academic. That did me a lot of good as a young Black male. So something to really, really kind of think about. And then my last point, look for that ROI. Remember that term, ROI, return on investments. Don't go spending $200,000 on a degree on student loans for a field that makes $50,000 a year. I know also a while back there was a controversy around all these for-profit colleges. Look, I'm a fan of education in all its forms, online colleges, technical schools, community colleges. Be very wary of these for-profit colleges. I do think they were kind of forced to clean up their act. I think a lot of that happened in the Obama administration, but just be careful with the for-profit colleges. I know too, those colleges tend to target a lot of adults that are going back to school, which is great. I fully support that. I think one of the comments from one of our viewers was about a friend of theirs that had gone back to school after 10 years, which is, I think, awesome. But just be careful of the for-profit colleges. And by the way, I'm a big fan of going back to school. I think a lot of times we don't see the benefits of college until we're in our 30s and kind of have a better grasp of what life is all about. So I'm a big fan of that, but just watch out for the for-profit colleges. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I had for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, one more shout out to Laverne J. Laverne J. Sent us some personal emails, you know, again, talking about college. My wife's done a lot of videos where she talked about some of the things she was buying for Chase. We've been looking for suggestions from you guys. Laverne J emailed us a couple of suggestions, so thank you so much. We always love when you guys send us emails at the UnFrumpyMommy Gmail address. And yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will continue to talk to you in the pink package shoutouts. Peace. What's up, YouTube family? Hopefully you're feeling blessed and not stressed. I feel blessed and highly favored to be able to join you for another pink package shout out. Let's jump right into it. Our first one is to Diane M out of Pinole, California. Thank you so much, Diane M, for your first order. Welcome to the Unfrumpy Mommy family, the Unfrumpy Mommy Store family. You ordered a Lux shirt. May you wear that in good health and prosperity. Large order from Terry SM. Terry SM out of Philly. Let's see, Lux, Bob Marley, birthday girl. Happy birthday, Terry SM out of Philly. If this is indeed for your birthday, happy birthday. This is your first order. Again, welcome to the Unfrumpy Mommy family. A lot of first orders. Tara S out of Elgin, South Carolina, another first order. Thank you so much, Tara. Welcome to the Unfrumpy Mommy Store family. Brown Sugar Babe, Rich Auntie Vibes. Thank you so much, Tara S out of Elgin, South Carolina. Big order. This is the day of first orders, and I love to see large first orders from Atsumbo A out of Laurel, Maryland. Thank you so much, Atsumbo A. Bob Marley, Lux shirt, spoiled wife, Lux shirt. Thank you so much, Atsumbo A out of Laurel, Maryland. Next up, Robin B out of Jacksonville. Thank you so much, Robin. You ordered 2 Bob Marleys, 2 Lux shirts. One of your Bob Marleys was for men. The other one was for women. So we assume, we ordered that for a special man in your life. Thank you so much, Robin B, for that second order out of Jacksonville, Florida. And you also ordered 2 of the Nina Simone retro t-shirts. So thank you so much, Robin B out of Jacksonville, Florida. And last but certainly not least, another first order, Angela C out of Macon, Georgia. Basically home team. Macon's about 2 hours south of Atlanta. Atlanta's gotten so big now, Macon might as well be a suburb of Atlanta. Mask off and Africa earrings. Thank you so much, Angela C, for that first order out of Macon, Georgia. I will see you all on the next pink package shout out. What's up, YouTube family? It is pink package shout out time yet again. Let's get right into it. The first one, Nina O out of Henderson, Nevada. And this is Nina's first order out of Henderson. So welcome, Nina O. Blazers, jeans, and tees, one of the OG shirts, and a Lux shirt. Thank you so much, Nina O out of Henderson, Nevada. I believe that is our first order out of Nevada. So thank you so much, Nina. Rhonda L out of Spring, Texas. Texas always shows us love. Rhonda L coming in with that first order with the Lux shirt. Thank you so much, Rhonda L. Mowgli E, another first order. A lot of first orders this batch. Sunrise, Florida. You guys know we love Florida. A lot of love from Florida too. The happy birthday 2-shirt bundle. Happy birthday to Mowgli E for the 2-shirt bundle. Thank you for representing with that. Another first order. Thank you so much. Happy birthday out of Sunrise, Florida. I do remember though we have gotten orders from Sunrise, Florida before, but I don't think we've got them from that particular person. So thank you so much. Now, this person is an OG of the store, Alice M. This is her 6th order out of Lancaster, Texas. Texas shows us love once again. a Lux shirt. Thank you so much, Alice M. out of Lancaster, Texas. Yolanda H, first order, Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you so much, Yolanda. A Lux shirt, first order. Welcome to the family. Big order, we saved the best for last. Kimberly F. So I think on the previous pink package shout out, I said Kimberly had back-to-back large orders. Her first order was a big box over here. This is her second order. Huge envelope. Huge envelopes. Thank you so much, Kimberly F. out of Canton, Michigan. Friday, she overcame. Big Hair Friday. So apparently you're loving your Fridays, Kimberly, because you ordered 2 Friday themed shirts. 2 Afro Divas, and 2 Lux shirts. Wow. Thank you so much, Kimberly F. out of Canton, Michigan. And thank you all for your support of the Unfrumpy Mommy store, the YouTube channel, the Amazon store. And I will see you guys on the next Pink Package Shout Out.